That would be me. Okay. Hello, everybody. I'm Hernan Mayol, and I am the founder and chief volunteer for Apprentice Worldwide. And Apprentice Worldwide is a global award-winning career development organization founded in 2014 and now in 52 locations. So we have members in 52 locations. And what we do here is we are mentoring communities of people that are focused in improving their career and improving their businesses. And obviously, they like to do a lot of networking and meet a lot of people around the world. So we do coaching as well. Sebastian, who's around here, I'll introduce him in a little bit. Let me see if he turns on his iPhone or not. We'll see. Sebastian, you there? So he's on mute.
Hi, how are you?
Sebastian, I caught you. So Sebastian is our global head of coaching. Yes. And I haven't made the announcement. Today is the first official announcement to the world of Sebastian, but you'll see him more again and he'll tell you later on what we're doing with our coaching. So we're so happy to have you guys here. Everybody here is a friend of mine. So you're in good hands. Let me make a few more introductions. Alexandra Gonzalez. She's going to be my co-moderator. She's going to ask a few questions as well. Alexandra.
Hello, everyone. I'm Alexandra
Welcome,
Gonzalez.
Alex.
Well, first of all, I'm very happy to meet the new people. It's very exciting to always see new members. I have been a member of Apprentice Worldwide for about 5 years now. And it's been amazing. A lot of great connections and opportunities have come from it. So I'm very glad that, we have new members. Welcome. I also work for Awesome Foundation. So what we do is try to support as much as we can the autism community. There is a lot of lack of resources and lack of understanding, in general in our society. And it is our, commitment and our mission to try to give all these families the support and the resources that they need to become successful in their own way.
And very fitting. So Alex is awesome, like her foundation. And I'm happy to have you here. She started with us in college as an apprentice. By the way, Apprentice Worldwide, the word apprentice is only used by the people in college. That's when normally we recruit leaders that are graduating college and we help them in their transition to the real world. And, we have a few here, Stephanie, Benjamin, Chris. Chris is still an apprentice. He's about to graduate this year. It's funny because I met this amazing, wonderful man, Jerry, who is the founder of Tunnel Vision and also the CEO for Catching Up Academy and Centers. And Jerry and I know each other 21 years already. I was trying to do the math. 1999, right? 1999. Actually, 23 years. 23 years.
23 years.
Jerry actually probably is the source of inspiration for my work and ministry that I did for many, many years. Jerry was probably my first real apprentice. Him and I were part of a young adult ministry at a parish where he just came with his smiley face and we were a bunch of viejos to him. We were, 10 years older than him. And he considered us old at that time, imagine. Yet he himself was a leader in our ministry and then took over for a while and then continued in his merry ways, helping people around the world. I don't want to steal his thunder, but I want Jerry to introduce himself. And then I have a ton of questions for you, brother. Ton of questions. So why don't we start with you? Jerry, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. So I have a center, as you said, I have a center that works with kids with different disabilities, autism, ADHD. Also, I work with kids that have issue with feeding, that they have things that they can eat, or they have issue with the textures of it. So also, as you said, I created Tunnel Vision. Tunnel Vision, it's a device that I created about 4 years ago. I'm a kind of guy that I like to think outside the box, because the kids that I work with, they're outside the box kind of kid, and Phoebe will tell you that. My job is to figure them out. My job is to be able to make more Jerry's out there with parents, get them ready for the child future. As you know, I have a son with special needs, and I get the parents. I get the scare, the fear that we have when you have a child with special needs, just because of the future, and about this world that we have, and it's a challenge that they have. So my job is just basically help them out, and I work with different physiotherapists, occupational, speech, behavior. I work with different people. I like to get some information from different therapists, different methods that they use. I try to tweak it. But my job is to be able to find the puzzle piece or the answer. And that's what I love. I love my job. I love what I do. I'm still here at work. I'm here until 7 o'clock at night every day, so I enjoy it. I drink too much. It's a challenge. I love what I do, and waking up in the morning and doing this, I could do this every day.
Jerry, tremendous. Okay, so I have questions for you. I know you since you were a little kid, and one of the things that I learned about you is your resiliency. And why don't you tell us a little bit about your family and where you came from, which I know it's important to you, and you dealt with a lot of situations with the health of your family. So why don't you share a little bit about you?
Well, I have I have my brother and my sister, and I have my mom. Learned I was a fast learner when I was very young. I had to learn fast about life. In 1998, my mom had a stroke, and she became bedbound since 1998 here. She's been bedbound since 98. It changed my life. It changed my life. And I think it opened my eyes of in the sense of life. And I have a gift, and I always tell people that my gift is never any study the gift that I have. It's something that is just, I don't know. It's like having a Kobe Bryant with the basketball. It's a gift that he had. I mean, you don't teach that. You don't teach Kobe. You don't teach Michael Jordan. So for me, I think that my family taught me a lot about what you do and how you do things. Make sure that you do it the best that you can. Be better than anybody. Challenge yourself every day. And I think that's what keeps me humble. It keeps me humble because for me, my family always taught me, my mom always taught me that, you always have one opportunity to make a difference. And I think that the opportunity that I took, risking college, coming back down, leaving college, full scholarship of football, I took the risk, but I had to do what I had to do, take care of my mom, and I'm here where I'm at now. So, yeah.
So you said, so you went to college where?
I went to college in Minnesota, Morehead State University. There for 2 years, and then my grandma called me, told me I have to come back, take care of my mom. So I had to leave my plans. As you know, what makes God laugh is his tell me your plans. So his plan was different. So I decided to come down back to Miami. I became a janitor, and then from there I started working at. I started taking my mom to Jackson Memorial Hospital, and then her doctor said, "Look, you're a great son. Why don't you work at Jackson?" So I got a job at Jackson as a tech, and then I became a physiotherapist assistant at Trauma Center for about 4 years. And then one of the girls there said, "Look, you're good with kids. You should work with kids with autism." And this has happened 13 years ago. So I didn't know anything about autism, but I was good with kids. So I left Jackson and I went to that company. I started working with them, and then from there I started doing my own business. But again, I guess it just started from my mom. So that's where I'm at now.
Jerry, and so family, I know, plays a very important part of your day-to-day life. And why don't you talk a little bit about your family and your kids?
I have I married my wife. She was divorced with 2 kids. Jordan was 4. Angel was 7. Jordan was born with spinal muscular atrophy. Jordan right now is 21. Angel is 25. And my daughter and with my wife, she's 13. Each child for me is different. I think Jordan is the one with special needs. He's the one that I think that keeps me, in the humble mode and the reality about these parents that I work with, challenging him every day. He's going to Miami-Dade. He's getting his AA this month. Very proud of him. My son, 25, just has, he's on his own, kicked him out. So he's doing good. He's on his own. And my daughter, she could stay in my house forever, but she's 13. She plays sports. She's doing great. But my family is, my kids, it's always about what drives you, what challenges you. And, I think that what they see, what I do, they understand they have to love what you do, and you have to have the passion for it. So, and my wife, of course, she's my the one that keeps me in line, in the sense of, work and life itself. But I think it's more about keeping them, close to God and keep on being an example for them, as a father, as a husband, and as a son.
I know your wife, so I know she really is the hero behind you, keeping you straight. I know you're all over the place, and maybe you are your own inspiration for tunnel vision. But we'll talk about tunnel vision a little bit. You mentioned God and faith a couple of times, right? How does that play into your life, and how important it is in your business? How do you deal with that? Well, I know it's not always easy, right?
Yeah. Well, I think without God and without my faith, I wouldn't have what I have now. I wouldn't be where I'm at. I don't have a lot of things that other people have. And I think that without my faith and without God, I wouldn't be where I'm at. I get challenged a lot. But when I work with kids, I make sure I pray before I see the child. And just ask God to guide me, to open my eyes, to see what nobody else sees. And I see things that nobody else sees. And I just pray for the family also. When I get deep with families, I always talk about faith. I always talk about strength. Sometimes my office becomes my church. I stay by I'll close all those doors and turn off the lights and have a moment with God and thank him for what I have. But again, for me, it's this company or what I'm at. I don't really look at it as, success. I look at it more as a ministry. I look at it more as a duty that I have to do because I have a gift that I have to use. If not, then what's the point of having the center and what's the point of seeing the kids? So, I think it's without God and without my faith, I wouldn't be where I'm at now.
Thank you, brother. So I know we share that a lot, right? The mission found us. The mission found us, and we do what we have to do to satisfy whatever it is that, in my case, I believe in God, so that has that plan for me. We weren't looking for these things, right? It's not like you wake up, oh no, I want to take care of autistic kids, and I want my son to have an issue, my mother to have an issue. I didn't know that my dad was going to pass away when I was 26 and come up and lead ministries. and now take care of young professionals. There's a point in our lives that we have to say, okay, we need to make a little money, right? And that's when I remember you and I having that conversation, because we're mission-driven people, to be honest, right? And I know a few here are also mission-driven people. By the way, everybody here shares a service of some sort. You know, how do we balance making money? When did you have to make that decision? You know, because obviously you needed money to start the centers, and obviously you need money for your patents and the things. What did you do? You know, how did that develop in your life? Your finances? How do you handle that?
Well, I think in the end, money will come. I mean, if you're doing your will, you're doing your job, it will come. You know, I was talking to I went to a school today to show a parent about a new school that I feel that the child will be great in that school. And a director comes out and I go, "Hi, I'm Jerry." She goes, "Oh, I know you. I know who you are. You know, you're the Jerry, this and that." And then she told the parent, "Look, you know, this guy, if you have Jerry, you're good. You know, your kid will be okay." And you know, that's what Jerry does. So I think, you know, the money will come. You know, I started catching up, you know, seeing kids at home. And then from there, I rented a small room, like a bathroom size room. And I started seeing kids there. But I think in the end, it's you know, if you focus on money, I think that your passion will go away. I think that your gift goes away. Everything goes away. I always tell, and I was talking to one of the doctors from and we was talking about, we had lunch and we were like, you know, these schools, they open up so many schools up in Miami. They start with a great heart because they want to help kids, they want to receive kids, they want to try to give services, but it gets to a point that their heart becomes hard because it's now about the kids becomes a number now. They don't become someone I need to help. So for me, I like to stay small. I like to be okay. I'm okay where I'm at, you know. And I think that, you know, talking about money, for me, of course we have bills, of course we have all these things, but I think if you do what you're supposed to be doing, the money will come, you know, because if you focus on that, then you're not seeking for helping kids. You're seeking more of how many kids I need to have to pay my bills. And then it just becomes about the bills and the money, and then your passion is not there anymore.
Absolutely. So then they ask me why I don't charge anything to become a member of this organization. Because, you know, when you're doing work, you don't need money to do what you love, right? You just do it. Whatever is your mission, you just do it, right? Yeah. Something will come that somebody will help you out. If you're helping people out, you know, somebody will give you a hand. I believe in that. So I just give my heart to everybody. I know you give your heart to everybody. Those little kids, why don't you share a couple of stories about how these kids have changed in their behavior since you've started experimenting with you know, tunnel vision, and then we'll talk about tunnel vision, where you're at and all that. So why don't you talk a little bit about where that idea came from?
Well, since
your methodology, maybe.
Phoebe's still there, right? Phoebe, you there? Yeah, she's there, right? She's there?
I am sorry, Gunnar was a little crazy in the background.
Oh, I'm the Jerry's here. So I'm the Jerry's here.
I was showing him, he went a little crazy. So, and my video's off. Yeah, I was looking for the picture of Gunnar. Here he is in the bathroom now. I was looking for the picture of Gunnar with the original. I mean, I feel like it had like ping pong balls. Do you remember? Like a cone?
Yes.
A cardboard cone. Yep. Because my son has a lot of sensory issues. He's a big hand stimmer. You can't get him to it's really, really hard to get him to, you know, focus. So he was one of the first. He's 13 now. He's been with you since he was 3, I think, like the beginning.
Yes. And with Gunnar, I think that, you know, with him and kids, I mean, I think I started a lot with kids that were very, very sensory, also attention. And, you know, when I started this tunnel vision. It's crazy because it was Gunner was one of the kids that Gunner and Enzo and the other kids that I'm like, man, how do I get this kid to focus? How do I get this kid to focus? And then, as Bibi said, I had a cup and two papers, string, and I'm like, okay, how did this work? And then let me show you. And then I bought. Let me see. And then after that, I bought a ski mask. I was at the mall and I was walking like, okay, a ski mask. Maybe I can use a ski mask. So I used a ski mask and I put a cup here, and in the cup, taped it up, and then it became tunnel vision. And for me, I had to change it a couple of times. Changing it was kind of hard because the more you change, the more money it costs. With the pattern, with the design, with the how you change it, how you wanted it, and for me, it had to be perfect. So I started with this, and from there I started changing it, and I started improving it more and more, and I started getting more results from these kids, and more results from the parents, and the parents were happy to see fast results. And I'm a kind of guy that I like challenges, but I like to work fast. I like to be able to prove that things work, that the things I do work, and the things I try to find it works. But again, it's always trial and errors, and you just start learning what to do and how to do it. But yeah, I mean, tunnel vision, when I created it, it was just an idea in the head of in my little small head. But I, like I said, I think God gives me a gift just to see things. I mean, tunnel vision is just the beginning of what I invented, but I just get visions. I get things in my head that I see things that other people don't see. But then, it was just that challenge of how do I put what is in here in my hands. And that was the biggest challenge for me, for my wife, for my family. As you know, making something costs money, and the patenting and the design and the changing. So it was hard. But now we're in a place now that we could be able to help so many kids now. We have a lot of different therapists using it. We have a lot of schools using it. So I'm very excited about that. But yeah, that's the way it started. And I feel that this is going to help so many kids.
It will. Two questions. Talk to me about your Shark Tank experience. I know you had quite an experience with that. And then talk to me about autism, and maybe Phoebe and you can share a little bit about what autism is like. And then after that, I'll let Alex, who's here, also ask you some questions.
Okay.
So, Shark Tank.
So when I started with Shark Tank, I started with the ski mask. It was the ski mask and the tunnel itself. And then, it was costing me $250 to make this, and it was costing me a lot. And I went to the whole interview, and it was just they wanted it to cost less. So I created this one that costs way less than the $250. But the challenge was to be able to prove them that this works. I had a chance to go back after I decided to change it and change the material and everything else, but I chose not to. I chose to go on my own, just because for me, the device sells itself, and for me, just to be able to give it to the right hand, and it's all about who in Miami and everywhere else. So Shark Tank was a great experience, but it opened my eyes, because for me, it's to be able to make it affordable for the parents to be able to buy it, and make it fair for them. So it was a good experience. It was just something I knew I had to change. And my wife thought it was crazy because I had to change it again. And there goes another $3,000, $5,000, or to change it and change it and change it. So it was scary. I think the road is scary because people think that you go to Shark Tank and you're like, okay, the idea just came like that. No, it's a process. And those people went through a lot of hardship in the sense of financial. Also, you question yourself about, is this the right one, or is this right? So I think that you get challenged for that. But, you know, in the end, you just make a decision of what you believe in your product, you believe on what you make, and be able to say, okay, this works. And then with the autism, I'll let Phoebe talk about that because she's very good about that because she's been dealing with it for 13 years.
I don't know if I can speak for autism, but you know, just like Jerry said, you know, each kid is just like every kid is completely different. And I think with my son in particular, there were a lot of cookie cutter methods applied to him. He's 13. He's still what they call non-speaking. So we use a device. We've been through 4 or 5 programs where we've settled on the last one, I think, LAMP. But you know, most of it is being an advocate for them. But to get back to autism, I think the most frustrating thing was they're like, well, if we lock him in this desk and we ask him enough times, he's gonna speak. And I'm like, okay, that didn't work. So what else you got? Well, no, that's what we have, and that's what's going to happen. And let's stop every behavior. And, you know, I think I ran into Jerry in his first office. That's the one that you had, right? On South Miami. And I think you would go on the elevator and my son was like, you know, like really upset. And he's like, I have an AB. I didn't even know what that was because it takes a minute to catch up. So long story longer, you know, he was like, okay, well, Gunnar seems like, you know, it was just completely different. I mean, there was a point when he only wanted to swim in the ocean, but he would not walk on the sand. And Jerry filled his entire office with sand and everybody had to walk in the sand, you know, like things like that, you know, I have 900 stories like that. So, you know, my son wouldn't eat. So then it was like, get him on the trampoline, make this course. And every time he went from the trampoline to another thing he liked, he had to take a bite of food. Yeah, there was another thing with the pool to talk about. I'm sure you remember that. So, you know, it's about treating each kid individually and helping them, you know, and understanding that just because they have these behaviors doesn't mean that they're not okay to have them. That's who they are. They're autistic, you know, but sometimes the behaviors get in the way of things like learning, and sometimes there are safety issues, you know, you have to worry about. And in that case, you address those behaviors, but you don't try to take the autism out of the child, which is, you know, it's a battle and you gotta, you know, get down and dirty. And I know, Jerry, I'm like, you know, in the middle of the night, or we've gone through a lot together. And I own my own small business. I actually didn't really know what this platform was about, so I'm reading about it over here. But so, you know, at the end of the day, it's just, you know, they're living in a little bit of a different universe that they go to, and it's exhausting for each and every person with this disability to have to acclimate to our world. So, you know, if you can give them tools to use to help themselves calm down and know that it's going to be okay, or give them breaks where they need to stim, those are the people in the industry that I'll talk to because, you know, to be honest, you know, it's and Jerry has always been that shining light. You know, I don't know if I called you that, the autism whisperer, you know, it's like, what, well, let's, you know, everything out of the box, which is how it should be, you know? So that's my take on Jerry.
Yeah, it's great because, I mean, I you know, well, my job is you become personal. You become, you know, even though she'll call me at 8 o'clock at night, or she'll call me at 7 o'clock in the morning, Jerry, he's having a tantrum, and what do I do? And you know, for me, I don't mind getting those phone calls because that's my job. You know, a lot of people say, okay, I work from 8 and 5 o'clock, I'm done. Do not call me, do not text me. You know, I got other kids, they're my kids, you know, so you know, it's about that. It's about becoming the part of that family, you know. So basically, I'm in people's houses, like pictures.
Well, because you know, a lot of it also is, you know, he does all this work and comes up with these crazy solutions. Even the device that we're talking about, like trying it on Gunnar with the ping pong ball and a toilet paper roll and the whole thing. But if I don't reinforce what has been worked on at home, then what's the point? You know, and so I know it's been, you know, like it's hard in all cases if we don't follow through. I mean, Jerry's making a massive effort. So, you know, it's important that, so that, you know, half the time I'm like, what did you do today when this happened? You know, And I mean, they don't really see each other anymore, which makes us sad because it doesn't work out. You know, he's 13 and in a school a little bit far, but for sure, I always put him in a Jerry camp because they need to reunite. And then there's always some behavior or something that we can work on. And it's like picked up like that, you know, like, okay, you know, he hasn't seen him for 2 years, doesn't matter, you know. So it's like lifelong, you know, I feel like.
Yeah, I think it's so much of, you know, and we talk about hope. I think that's what we, as parents with a child with disability, that's all we have is hope. You know, that's all we have. I mean, we hope that things get better, or because in the end, we all not gonna be here. So it's that for me. Like for example, I have a child with special needs. I don't know if you remember Jose, big kid, and his dad passed away of cancer, and now you know he's in a nursing home. But he's doing great. He's doing great. I go visit him. I'm still, you know, Dad said, if I'm gone, you take care of him. You know, so my job. You know, so in the end, it's that. It's in the end, it's me being able to be there and see what happens. You know, I mean, it's about you know, when you have a child with special needs, it's all about the ride. Because that ride is going to take you up, down, and sometimes it stops, and then you go, why did it stop? And then it keeps on going too fast. You know, you just try to just stay on the ride, and that's the goal: is staying in the ride and being able to help your son or your daughter in the world that we live in, and get them prepared for the life itself.
It's funny that you mentioned that, Jerry, because you know we adopt them into our lives, right? It's not really a job. You mentioned job, but it's really they become part of your family when you're doing work, when you're doing ministry work, right? By the way, I remember having conversations, deep conversations with you till 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, trying to figure out life in general. So there's nothing more beautiful than knowing that you put a little bit of yourself in those people that are in need of you. It's you know, you have a special gift. You're just giving it. Right. And I remember you and I, how many times we had to sit down with young adults that had major issues from dealing with prostitution, drugs, right? And being there for them, and sometimes picking them up, and sometimes going to jail and taking them out. And, you know, I don't have to deal with that much now with, you know, the work that we do with these professionals, but it's just the same type of investment of your life is what makes you successful. And I commend you for that. It's just something that you can't bottle, right? It's like an individual thing, and it's just you.
Yeah.
So thank you, brother. Okay, Alex, I know you're in the autism world as well. So why don't you ask some questions, and then maybe share a little bit about some of your examples, and maybe ask questions to Jerry about those kids as well and what he would do.
Yeah. Well, so I don't necessarily work with kids like as a therapist. I am more into like giving projects to school and, you know, taking resources for them to do art projects and experience art their own way. So, I mean, you sound like a very creative individual, Jerry, and I'm very intrigued as to kind of understand a little better the concept, and maybe for everybody who's in the Zoom, what exactly do the goggles do for the person? Like, I know that it makes them focused, but I mean, I just can't, like, I have never worn those goggles, so I kind of want you to explain like how it feels, maybe. What is the experience?
Okay, so well, there's kids with autism, kids with ADD, and ADHD is very different. So kids with autism, they don't like things on their face. I'm not all of them, but they don't like things on their face, or they don't like to wear hats. For example, I have a new child named Alex. He did not like television at all in the beginning. I mean, forget it. He did not like it. Just because for them, it's a sensory issue. So what I would do is I would get something like this and I would count. And basically what it is, I mean, it's different for everyone. But my goal for him was to focus. It's all about focus. You know,
Okay.
concept of taking, stimming away is not happening. It's not that. It's just the focus part of it. So, if a child needs to be able to focus on a task or coloring or beads or give me eye contact, I use tunnel vision. So what this does is it just takes away any distractions around them. But what I do is a child that just start with me, like Alex, he has a hard time doing it. It was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10. I'll count. So what happens? The child is focusing on the counting, then the goggles.
Mm-hmm.
So once I fade away that, then he starts understanding that what we're trying to do. Once that happens, then we use the strap and we do the whole thing with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10. Just because in the end you want to start limiting the tunnel itself and say, okay, we're just focusing so much of the tunnel, but we're focusing on the counting. So the feeling of it is all you can do is look forward. There's no distraction. So I could get a child to do puzzles or something that he really likes. So you always want to do something that's reinforcement. So he likes puzzles, he likes beads. And what that does, it helps the child to say, okay, I like what I do, but I'm doing it with a tunnel. And then you start challenging them with the tunnel. The tunnel is not meant for the child to have forever. You have to fade away from it. My concept is about the muscle memory. It's about memories, about them remembering, okay, I have to start and finish. And that's the goal. It's for the child to start and finish, but also for the child to give you eye contact. I think the eyes is everything. If someone is talking to you, not I mean, there's no social skills there. So the goal is for the child to look at you and say, oh, I want this. Okay, I want this, Jerry. Instead of saying, can I have cookies? And not look at you. So it's all about that social skills. So yeah, I mean, it's works for different kids. I use it for T-ball, for typical kids. I use it for kids to ride bike. It's just, I use it for different things. Speech therapist uses it more for them to child to focus on their lips. Occupational use it more for the fine motor skill. Physical therapists will use it more for the balancing. So everyone uses it differently. We have different therapists using it. And I get different experience from them. Like everything else is not 100% of everything. People say, "Oh, I didn't have a good experience. I have a bad experience," and I learned that. I learned from okay, what part is you not like it? Okay, what do we do different? And that's why I had to change it a couple of times because for me it was okay. We have to change the strap. We got to change the tunnel because the tunnel is too wide. The circle now their eyes are more together. So I get their feedbacks and I try to change it. So the concept of it is just to focus. It's just to be able to focus, start something, finish something, and be able to function.
Well, that's amazing. I really think that's an amazing thing. And our organization, I mean, we're always looking for ways to innovate and ways to improve, the community in general. So I think that it's very interesting. I mean, my head is going like 100 miles per hour right now on, things that we could do together, and hopefully we can talk another day about that. But I think that that's an amazing idea and an amazing concept. And I want to talk also a little bit about your academy. So is that like a school or is it like a therapy center?
Okay. So the academy, I wanted to open a school. That was my plan, to open a school, and because everybody like, Jay, open a school. It's just got too complicated to open a school because, when you put too much in your basket, it's going to be too heavy to carry. And for me, I felt that I'm going to lose my touch. And I think that if you ask me what's my fear is to lose my touch, my gift. And I think that I did decide not to open a school. So, and all these things, stories of all these directors that have the school and the headaches that they deal with, and I'm like, forget, I'm not doing it. It's just too much. So what the center is more of a services of Phoebe. Well, Phoebe will know. Phoebe will tell you that, they go call me different things. Call me, your speech or your occupation or your behavior. For me, I use everything. I use a little bit of speech. I use a little bit of behavior. I use everything. For me, my concept of call it therapy, it's more of, if I have a kid here that comes here, a 13-year-old child had issue with eating. She wanted to commit suicide because there was too much pressure for her about eating, and the family was just too much pressure. And in 2 weeks now, she's eating rice, chicken, hamburgers, everything. Am I a speech therapist?
Wow.
No, but I could teach a kid how to eat. You have a child that has an issue with sensory, with haircuts, with nail cutting, all the things I do. Am I occupational therapist? No, but I do those things. So, parents come to me, I tell them, listen, my job is to help you kid and show you results. As Phoebe knows, she's been through a lot of different therapists, and a lot of parents that come here have been to so many different therapists. And they will tell you, look, Jerry's different. Jerry's not that guy. So, this is a center that kids will come in with different behavior issues. And I'm talking about things that you're like, what the heck? I mean, cutting their hair, cut kids' hair, cut kids' nails. I think Gunnar had an issue with cutting nails. I think so.
Got everything. Yeah. He's, but I think the one thing too is obviously, as life marches on and your child is going to different schools and it was getting harder to see Jerry, it didn't matter. Every shadow that Gunnar has ever had does not get hired unless he goes and spends like 2 hours with Jerry and my son, period. And so, a lot of times, it's difficult in this industry. I know especially like ABA agencies are getting bought up a lot by private equity, and sometimes personalization gets lost. And I think it's important that there are more therapy centers like Jerry's. At the end of the day, my son's non-speaking. Do I think does he see a speech pathologist right now? No, he doesn't, because there's no time in the day. He goes to school, everybody's ABA, but I, told the director of the school, my son will not be continuing unless the teachers are willing to take the training session. I can get the vice president of the tech company to bring the devices and train everybody. And she's like 100% on board. It's mandatory. So now, because it's so hard, you have to fight and fight and fight. And if there's 2 nonverbal kids per every class and they're not all on the same device, what are you guys doing all day? Like, how are they possibly communicating? And it's not about him being taken out and working just with a speech therapist in a cube for 30 minutes. It's about him being able to communicate and participate in the classroom with the other kids on his device, as it should be, So I think, definitely South Florida is making great strides. They're certainly behind, but if it's not people like Jerry or even myself, constantly fighting and also saying, look, this will make everybody's life better. Like this, I'm sure the teachers work so hard, their lives are exhausting. If they cannot communicate with the child or have it 2 ways, what's the point? Sorry, it's from the background. But so I think, up until last year, Gunnar had a shadow 30 hours a week. And so the last one, Jerry, David, he lasted a very long time because he would say, okay, well, this is the game plan that's off the books because insurance won't allow me to do X, Y, and Z. And then these are the tasks that we work on the books. It's kind of ridiculous, but you get those people that are like, he's amazing. And he was a young kid and he's like, wanted to go meet Jerry. And I think he went a few times after that to even observe, so.
That's amazing.
It's different.
I mean, that commitment is very necessary, especially from the parents. I think like sometimes for me it's really hard because I get a lot of parents that come to me and they come to us for answers, and a lot of the times therapy is not enough, or sometimes it's too much. So then you have to balance it out. And I am not a therapist either, but
So, guys, because I'm conscious of the time, and I know Jerry wanted to talk a little bit about the Tunnel Vision Indiegogo campaign, and also he has somebody that's helping him with the campaign from the very beginning and professionalizing that. Jerry, tell us about the campaign, what you're trying to accomplish, and also you talked about a friend of yours that helped you out. Talk about if he can introduce himself. I don't know if he's here.
No, I don't think he's there.
Okay, so you want to talk about your campaign and what you're trying to accomplish?
Yes. Right now it's like a GoFundMe type of thing. But now Kickstart, it's like a Kickstart type of thing. So right now we're trying to raise $75,000, and that's basically starting the train and get to start making tunnel vision. And the goal is to be able, once we start doing it, is to be able to spread it as far as we can. As you know, I've been to Colombia, Brazil, Panama, South Africa. I was supposed to go South Africa 2 years ago, but because COVID, something happened. But I've been to different countries, and a lot of different countries. Mexico's using the tunnel vision, so we're trying to give it as much. We're trying to spread as much as possible to the hands of the therapists. We also have an app that is going to help parents or therapists or teachers how to use tunnel vision. But yeah, right now we're trying to raise $75,000 to start production and be able to put it worldwide. Like, as you know, things are kind of crazy in this world now, but we have faith that it would happen. And the goal is to be able to spread the word and be able to get people connected.
So I want everybody here to think about how we can help Jerry out. If not financially, of course, we would like for you anybody to give anything to Jerry, just as a testament to just thank him for the work that he's doing. But most importantly, if you have friends of yours that are interested, that either have autistic children or have people with special needs that understand the importance of these things, share it with them as well. See what they think. Jerry can give you feedback. He's very open about all these things, and I know many of you, at least the people at Apprentice, I know we can find ways to fundraise a little bit as well. We'll figure some way of doing it. Maybe Alex, we can do that in the next couple of weeks or months. Well, not in the next couple of months. In the next month or so, we can do a little fundraiser to help Jerry out. But
I would love to talk to him about it. Jerry, if you would like, that's what I do for a living. We are a nonprofit, so I have a few ideas in mind, and we can collaborate with you to get you to that goal. So if you would like, we can set up a meeting. I'll drop my phone in the chat, and then you can text me anytime.
Yeah, because I'm very bad with technology. But
well, I'm bad with technology, but I have some good people here that are good with technology. So we'll figure it out. Any questions for Jerry? Please, the questions, 1 minute, because we only have 5 minutes. Again, Jerry, if you want to put your phone number here as well, if anybody has special questions for you on the chat, but anybody that has a question, I know Nalisa had a question.
In the time of COVID, and I know that you said the whole technology thing, right? So a lot of these kids need social emotional learning to be able to actually grow and from other students as well, and kids just interacting, right? And a lot of these kids don't, I think another thing that I had encountered is a lot of kids are not diagnosed properly, the right way. And so I have two questions. First, what are the recommendations that you would provide for social emotional learning tips for people, like families that want to help but don't know necessarily how to improve that? Maybe not necessarily like TVs, but what kind of activities can parents and adults do with children that would be able to allow them to have fun and not be scared in any way, is the first question. And the second question is about what's the best way to get diagnosed or to find out if your child has either a learning disability or is on the spectrum for autism?
Well, when parents come to me, they, some kids come in without being diagnosed yet. As you say, sometimes kids are being misdiagnosed. Everyone has autism. But I don't diagnose kids. So when parents come to me and saying, look, Jerry, my child has this and this and this issue, I go, look, my job is to figure that out and try to fix it. So when the diagnosis is UM card is awesome. UM card is a great place that people go, as Phoebe will know. Phoebe will have more information about, where parents could go, and parents to parents is also a great place to go.
Yeah, early steps is the first place, even before card, and then they do the sort of they sort of guide you to a neurologist. You do all these testing, or so early steps if they're young, and then they typically, then you get assigned to someone at card. And if you need, I can introduce you to like the assistant Jennifer Droscher, because I work with her a lot. And then parent to parent becomes like an advocacy place that sort of guides you through every single benefit, school IEP, all the kind of things that you're supposed to be demanding that you don't know you're supposed to be asking for. I actually kind of did it all myself. I'm not from here. I'm from Connecticut. So I was sort of leading blindly. And then now I've actually met everybody at parent to parent. So I always recommend them. You know, they'll be with you. You know, my son now is at the new charter school. So I want to talk to you about that because she's super open. I could bring that device in on Gunner, and then we could see about getting like a school contract.
Okay.
Oh
yeah,
I already sent her your thing, so I'll talk to her next week. But because he pinches and bites when he doesn't want to do the schoolwork, so maybe
it's funny because he never pinches bite me. He does that to me.
Have you seen instances where there have been, because I saw that a lot, especially in communities of poverty, are there more like free resources or there funded places for people to be able to, because like I would hate when they would be like, this kid is a bad kid or something like that.
Yeah.
And a lot of the result of
parent to parent
is trauma, and a lot of it is these kids are expressing themselves, a lot of the stuff with violence and anger and outbursts because they're not able to properly be helped, right?
I think look, when I get kids, like for example, I have a child now that came for testing, and you know, he hits his 2-year-old sister. He's hitting his mom, he's hitting his sister, he's hitting his grandma and his dad. But at school, he's perfect. So the big change was he's 7 years old. He was a lonely child. He was the star of everything. Then the little sister came in and took over his spot. And you know, I always tell parents, you know, always remember this: the first child stays the first child. The second one is learning from the first child. So the reason why he has those behaviors is because your attention now becomes the sister. So that's why he's hitting his sister. That's why she's kicking his sister. So my job is to find the why. Why? What changed? Or what did change that child started doing that? So with that child that I'm working with now, that start next week, you know, is going to their house, seeing what's going on. Because, you know, 67% of the time, I'm dealing with parents more than the child. Because sometimes I always tell parents, look, what you're doing is you're affecting the future. You're taking care of the present now. You gave him that, but in the future, he's gonna get worse because you're doing something that the behavior became, this is okay. So, you know, I think that parenting has to do a lot of, I love doing workshops for parents. I love doing workshops for teachers. So I think parents have to get involved with that workshop. I think, as Phoebe knows, that you have to get involved in the Society of Autism and or Down syndrome, or it could be from different organizations that you have to get people's feedback. I get parents by word of mouth, by the doctors or by the parent. They'll tell you, look, this is what it is, this is who it is, this is what he does, and that's the best person you get refers to from the parent. So I think this.
Go ahead.
And country, when I go to countries like Panama and Colombia, they don't have a lot of resources. None. I mean, I go there, I'm like, okay, what are you doing? I went to Panama, and the girl had 6 different therapists, and I had to fire, out of 6, I had to fire 4. Because they were all doing the same thing. It was like, why do you have 6? So sometimes people think that having more is better. I'd rather have 1 good one or 2 good ones than have 20. You know, so in the countries, you know, I'm supposed to go to London in June because the child is moving down here, and we have to figure out what's going on over there. But he's a severe case, so I have to see the child's environment to be able to help him. You know, the child could come here, but if he lives in London, I have to see what's going on in London, so I could train the therapist, so I could train the teachers, so I could train the parents. So when I do travel, I train everybody.
That's why you're effective, I think, what you do, because you make it about the family environment and look at the root cause of it. And I think it's so funny because working with kids, the parents will come when they see that you're really helping their kids, right? And that way, so it's so important, and it's from word of mouth. So it's like, it's trusted, the community trust you really, really have. And the parks, I
Thank
just
you.
want to share with all of you that the public parks in Miami-Dade County have programs so that young adults and children can participate with county parks that support these initiatives and help them with volunteer work and jobs, really.
Okay.
Jerry, where can people find out more and where can they contact you?
Everyone contact me by phone. I got my personal phone call. My personal phone number
Which is what?
is 786-738-2141. 786-738-2141. I don't do social media. I know I should, but I don't do social media. You know, I have a catching up
Sorry.
Facebook.
Could you repeat your phone number, please?
Oh, it's right there, 786-738-2141.
Thank you.
Like I said, the social media aspect, you know, you could go catching up at Facebook or Instagram. You could get me there too. But I'm not so involved in that. My thing is it's just the parents. The parents are my social media. You know, they're my social media. They're the one that spread the word more than anything else.
Excellent. Guys, out of respect for everybody's time, we said we were going to be here an hour. Jerry, we have his phone number. If I'm going to send that out to everybody that registered, we're going to put it in the chat as well. I want to give it a shout out to everybody that came. Delia is from Venezuela. She's from Venezuela and she's here. We have Sandra from Chile. We have people in Boston. Andy is in Miami. We had somebody from Brazil join Tampa. So, you know, you wanted a worldwide audience. Here it is. We're going to start here for you. And we're going to share the whatever we can do to help you out, Jerry. And, you know, I love you, brother. Anything that we can do to help, we'll do. You know, my people are professionals, executives. We'll find a way of doing it. We don't give up on our people. Right? This is not our day-to-day thing. I know this is your thing, right? And you know what? The most important thing for me is that you know that I love you and that we care for you and that we want you to succeed and, you know, we won't give up. We'll find a way, all right?
No, good. I mean, if anyone contact, just text me, say, Jerry, this is who I am, and I'll keep your number and text me now and then I'll just save your number and if any questions, you know.
Excellent. And I'll share this recording with everybody so you can have it as well. We most likely are going to upload it on YouTube in the weekend. But, you know where to contact Jerry. You have his phone number. Anything that you need, I'll give you a couple of minutes to scan this QR code for my information as well. Most importantly, yes, we have 20,000 things on social media. We have a very active team all over the world. Delia is doing marketing in Venezuela. We have 15 industry groups and 52 locations. We have a team in Africa, teams in Latin America. They're all having fun, meeting people, learning, and that's what we do here. If you have a heart to help the next generation of leaders get to where they need to go, you know, this is the place to be, and just call me. You know, my contact info is here, and we'll figure out where to place you to help. We only need your heart. We don't need your time because we make time whenever we have to help people. Right? That's what I tell my mentors.
We need to thank you, Hernan. Thank you so much for always taking your time to have these incredible leaders and to give us an insight of like what's going on. Thank you, Hernan.
Well, you will learn soon that it's not about me. All right?
Hernan,
Life is not about me.
Hernan was the one that designed my logo when I first catching. So he designed my logo. He designed this. And I'm like, man, I have to find a logo, Hernan. And he just picked this one. But we started having different ones. But then this is the one that he picked. And that's the one I stay with. So Hernan, you know, me and Hernan has, you know, it's been a while. It's been a while that we've been, you know, we have a relationship. But in the end, this was about. I think that, you know, we have to, you know, the way we're living our life now and the way the world is now, I think without people, we can't make it nowhere. So it's about everything else. It's who you know and what doors can be open.
Thank you. And Sandra, your brother told me that you're Sebastian's sister. So very nice to meet you. Phoebe, I will pray for you. I'll add you to my prayers as well. I really appreciate what you do. You know, we don't struggle. We all have our struggles, but you have a different struggle. I commend you. It's not that easy, right? I don't have that. I have to deal with other stuff, but not that. That is a day-to-day ministry, and you have to commit to that. It's hard.
Awesome.
And then Andrew is kind of quiet. I saw Andrew. How you doing, Andrew? Everything good? Andy, put your camera on. Are you there or you're hiding?
Show him your shirt. Show him your shirt, Andrew.
Do you see the shirt? You should be able to see it.
Is that
I like your shirt. I like your
I
shirt.
trust God. Do you? Question mark.
What about
We
you?
do.
What
We
about
do.
you?
All right, guys. Oh, I see Delia. Delia, finally. I like your hair. Very nice.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you, Alex.
Nice to meet you all, guys.
Awesome Foundation.
Right.
Awesome Foundation. Don't forget about Alex. Awesome Foundation is doing awesome things as well here in Miami. And she's and I will grab Jerry and do some sort of fundraising event.
We're actually going to be in Coral Gables this weekend in the festival, Music and Art Festival. We're going to have some kids painting on the booth and fun games for everybody. So feel free to stop. It's free entry. It's been a lot of fun.
Anything in the chat so we can? Or is there anywhere that we can find more information about that?
Yes, I dropped the LinkedIn of the foundation on the chat and my phone number. So if anybody has any questions, you can feel free to text on LinkedIn or text me directly or call me.
All right, guys. I didn't want this to come in the recording, but I'm going to go watch Batman, and it's coming out today. So catch you later.
Bye. Bye. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye-bye.